Hello and welcome to all of our Gold viewers who are here with us today. I'm Kristen Schwarz, licensed midwife and one of the MCs here at Gold. And today I'm chatting with Stacy Notestine about her upcoming presentation here at the Gold Lactation Conference. And her title of the presentation is Be Your Breast You, Self-Care Strategies for Lactation Professionals to Avoid Burnout. Stacy, welcome.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely having you here. And boy, this topic, I love this topic. I'm going to talk about this a little bit in detail in just a moment. I can't wait for it. But first, I want to hear a little about you, Stacy. Talk to me a little about where in the world you are and about your backgrounds here.
Sure. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I have been a nurse since long time, 1991. I've always done moms and babies my entire career. I started off as a labor and delivery nurse, and then in 2005 decided to go into lactation after struggles with my fourth baby. So have never regretted a minute of what I've done, and I've worked in lots of different places, inpatient, outpatient. I created a private practice in 2011. I fell in love with doing outpatient and serving moms in the home, and that's where I've been. And I worked both, working in the hospital setting, especially my last job was as the NICU lactation educator at Nationwide Children's here in Columbus. Loved that job as well, but had grown my private practice that I could step into that full time. So that's where I've been, and doing a lot of virtual things ever since COVID. And that's where I'm at. And I'm just so honored to be able to share also something near and dear to my heart that in 2017, I completed yoga teacher training. And so, all things holistic with yoga and meditation and just all those things that, especially now in our world, especially medical
Mm-hmm.
professionals in the workplace, that it's with honor that I get to share that piece of my journey too. So,
Yeah, and you mentioned something very important. You come from a very stressful background, nursing, NICU, also
yep,
lactation, IBCLC there too. So
yeah,
plenty of stress there. And so you decided for yourself bringing yoga in and meditation and focusing on that point on stress, right? And
yep,
self-care for lactation professionals and healthcare providers. So I
yep,
think it's huge. And I feel like after COVID, more, more light has been, brought to that subject, right? We
yeah,
finally, and this was long before COVID. COVID was just like kind of the accelerator for all that. Healthcare providers, nurses, IBCLCs,
yeah,
there's a huge burnout rate, a huge rate of professionals leaving the professions because of that, right? And that is
yeah,
heartbreaking and so incredibly sad. And but there are things we can do, and for ourselves, but also as a community, right? And
yeah,
so let's talk about, first of all, some of the stressors, the occupational stressors that lactation care providers feel, because from the outside, it's such a beautiful profession, right? Oh, you got to work with babies and moms, and oh, how cute and oh, how fantastic. But there are a lot
yeah.
of stress factors. So just share with me a few here.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, we typically as lactation consultants, we get moms presenting to us when they're in crisis. Their baby isn't latching, they're not
Mm.
growing, they're, a myriad of things, they're tongue-tied. There so many stressful factors that, we get called when, you know, everything's falling apart. So we have to work to put it back together.
Hmm.
And many of us in this profession who've done it for, like myself, seasoned and a long time, or whether you're new, that is part of our profession. We are putting out fires. So,
Hmm.
there's that piece to it. And then there's the piece of just in the workplace, whether that be inpatient, outpatient, in private practice, in the NICU, that there are many demands placed on us with our time, with our expertise, and just being able to serve as many people as we can in a very limited time often. So those are just a couple
Yeah.
and I'll talk more about that in the presentation.
In the
Yeah.
presentation. And one thing that came to mind just now while you were talking, I was thinking also, it can also, and nowadays we know how much loneliness is also a stress factor. And even though, an IBCLC or nurses work in a very, very busy environment, even if they're in private practice, there is such a certain isolation because I feel like
Yeah.
often they don't have anybody to talk to about what they're experiencing, right? They don't really have any much of a peer support system there. So I figure also that's another stress factor. This, feeling of isolation, loneliness could also contribute that to the stressors there as well, right?
This is true. They say in our world that loneliness is the new smoking. So,
Mm-hmm.
as far as it being a stress factor to our body, our psyche,
Mm-hmm.
our, mental health, it is a factor. Yeah. And
Yes.
COVID, like you said, accelerated. That was
Mm-hmm.
the accelerant put on there.
But
So, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, another factor is that this is the profession that attracts people who are, caring and kind, who want to make a difference, who care, who are passionate about helping mothers and babies and families. But often, right, Stacy, they are not very good at caring for themselves or taking good care for themselves. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean that is the part that in this presentation I'm most excited to talk about. I've kind of put my own little spin on things
Mm-hmm.
and with how I'm going to present that to the audience, and I'm very excited about that. But I mean, so I'm a prime example that I was taking better care of my clients than I was taking care of myself. So my own personal story has led me to this presentation. And I think sometimes if we're not aware of that and then also acknowledging that is where we are, I think innately we know stress. We know what stress feels like. But
Mm-hmm.
often I don't think we can pinpoint where is exactly that stress coming from and what can I do about it to be a better provider so I can be my healthiest self to go out and serve moms and babies. And that's ultimately where, that's why this presentation came about. So, the first step is going to be bringing awareness. And so I'll talk about that. Um, and then we'll move into, okay, well then let's create something to fix that. So,
Absolutely. Now, some of us or some of our viewers who are looking at that, watching now may say, "Oh, this sounds great." However, I work in a busy hospital. There's no way anything will change there. I'm not in charge, and what can little me do? So, will you be addressing that in your presentation as well?
absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes I think looking at the big picture like that, it does become overwhelming. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's nothing that I can do. Well, change does start. It starts here. It starts here with first acknowledging where am I on the spectrum with how I'm showing up every day and
Mm-hmm.
what things can I maybe be doing different that can influence in the workplace, even if it's something very, very small. Like one of the things that I'm going to talk about that honestly I'm most proud about in my career is during my time at Nationwide Children's, we very much set things in place to boost morale in the workplace. I mean, NICU, it's the second largest children's hospital in the United States. It's a busy, busy place. And so, you know, it took one person. It took one person having the idea and then spreading it. So we're going to talk a little bit about morale in the workplace and
Mm-hmm.
what things can you do instead of looking at, the kind of cup half empty of like, oh,
Yeah.
it's too big of that to take on. So that yes, that definitely will be part of the presentation. So
Oh, Stacy, it sounds
yeah.
absolutely wonderful. Before I let you go, any final words here of wisdom for our viewers when it comes to the topic?
No, I mean, I just I hope I hope even if you look at this topic and you think, oh, I don't need that. I mean, it's far different topic than typically in lactation what we're learning about, right? Like,
Mhm.
you know, tongue tie, sore nipples, torticollis, like,
Yeah.
inadequate weight gain. This is a topic that is just for the viewers. And I know I've given this talk many times, and it's been so well received, and I've tweaked it. Gold has put some amazing new things into the presentation to make it interactive. And I hope your viewers will tune in and do something good for themselves. 1 hour, 60 minutes of just something good that can fill your cup, that then you can take. The goal is then to take back and make you better, so you can be a better provider in the workplace. So
Well,
yeah.
Stacy, it's been just so much fun having you here and chatting with you today. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to speaking.
And now some information for our viewers. You heard Stacy. That hour is for you. So make sure you come and fill your cup here at Gold. And the presentation is titled Be Your Breast, You Self-Care Strategies for Lactation Professionals to Avoid Burnout. If you're interested to find out more about this presentation and all the other presentation in the conference, we invite you to go to goldlactation.com. On April 2nd, we get started with our conference, and we have an open access, a free keynote presentation coming up. So make sure you sign up for that and share that information with all the colleagues and friends in the field. And I hope to see everyone at the conference. Bye-bye, everyone.